And we are back on Inside the Show. I'm Scuffy. He's Kooks, and it finally happened. It was confirmed. We had the thought it might have been him, and it was Kooks. And what I'm talking about is Carlos Delgado finally makes his way into MLB The Show 22. And I had to start out with this because he has been
the floor is yours, Scuffy. I'm getting out of frame. This is all for you.
He has been a top 4, top 5 player I've been wanting in this game, and he has finally arrived. We heard the rumors on the Rich Eisen podcast. Now it's confirmed, and he's in the game. And let me tell you, this card is I'm speechless. I can't talk. It's butter. It's sweet butter with his swing. His no doubters is amazing, and this card will be in my lineup for the rest of the year if I put a God Squad together, hands down.
Yeah, and let's just say he came out and he did not disappoint. I mean, the hitting is incredible. The fact that he can play left field, because everybody's talking about, oh, there's so many first basemen. The fact that he's got at least that little bit of versatility makes him even better. He's an absolute stud. And hey, I think my favorite thing about it is the Takashi card art. The fact that they're actually giving higher overall cards, that card art, and it wasn't just exclusive to that 5-player pack that came out when the game dropped. So super dope. Delgado, chase pack reward, love it.
Yeah, I tried to. It's funny. I tried to pull a 50 bundle. Like I had to. I mean, come on.
It's the rush. It's the rush of Delgado.
I had to try. However, I did pull a diamond. Right? I did pull a diamond. But when I
know where this is going.
When I opened it, I did it on my phone because I was working. When I opened it, I saw Andrew Benintendi, face of the franchise player, and I'm like, what the heck is this freaking card I just pulled? What just go on? And apparently they added face of the franchise cards into chase packs. I don't hate it. And I said I don't hate it because just in case people haven't played the game yet, and now it makes these cards much more accessible. But man, I was like pretty let down. But I couldn't imagine how people really did if they got, Kooks, and that's your boy with Mike Trout. Just
that's frustrating for sure. So are the face of the franchise just in chase packs, or are they in standards too?
In chase packs. So it's just in chase packs.
I don't like that they're just in chase packs. I think they should be in standard packs. If they're going to put them in packs, put them in standards as well. I'm fine with them being in chase, but put them in standards as well. You can pull regular diamonds out of chase packs.
Yep.
You should be able to pull face of the franchise out of standards, in my opinion, especially with their value tanking as they have.
Yeah, so it's face of franchise along with the gold legends and flashbacks from face of franchise program in the chase pack.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm with you. If it was in standard packs, that would make it a little bit easier to digest. But just knowing it's only in chase and you really want, you're really spending how many stubs to get chase pack? I mean, if you don't pull it in a standard, you're spending what was it, 67, 75K?
75K, yeah.
I understand it's the chase card, but those are the cards I don't want to see.
It's tough.
It is tough. But for all of the people that probably pulled Delgado, you guys probably went crazy for it. And I immediately went to BR here, Cougs, as I knew I would, as we said last week. Like, if he's that card, I'm playing BR. And my God, the first at bat, what happens? No doubter. Easy. And the batter, and I mean the Selly. I'm calling it Selly because that's how it feels, right? The celebration, no doubter celebration is just one of the best. It's from one of his home runs in Toronto where he just throws the bat to against the foul line, and it's 10 out of 10.
Great. It's very satisfying. It's kind of reminiscent of the almost like the Ricky Henderson no doubter where he just kind of like tosses it. So super cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I'm very curious if that's going to be his last card, like last higher card. You would think he would get a 99, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see them just living with the 97, but I think there's definitely ways to give him a 99 for sure.
Yeah, And he's going down in price. At first, he was hard. I mean, as expected, but he's down in price. He is roughly around 139K, and he'll probably go down even more as more people pull him. So he'll be more accessible. I was thinking the only way we get a 99 if they put him in a program or something like that to make it grind 99 to get him.
Yeah,
That's the only reason I could think.
I can see that.
But there is another Carlos Delgado that's coming up, but we'll go over that a little bit later. I do want to go over we left off last episode on Player of Month and pretty much gave our full review of the structure of the cards. And we're already here talking about news of May monthly award because they released another flashback legend. Now, I wouldn't say new, returning legend.
Mhm.
Jim Rice makes his return to MLB The Show. We seen him MLB 17. We seen him MLB 18. It's funny here because I looked up Jim Rice and I was like, all right, I know he was in 17 and 18. I look up MLB 17 Jim Rice. What's the first video that sees? It's you playing with him. I was like, oh, look who it is. And
I don't even remember using him either. That's the funny part. But I guess I have a video on it.
it was hardware. You were playing BR, I believe, and it was hardware. This is MLB 17 hardware Jim Rice, and the card looked pretty damn good for a 17. This is before the 125 attributes, and it was good power, good contact, and now he makes his return in 22. And I know I'm going to let you have this because you played with this card already. And then yeah, I'm just curious. First thoughts of Jim Rice making his return, and then how his monthly card is.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that they're bringing back legends that we've had in the game, and I hope this is setting the table to bring back guys like Ted Williams and even like Yogi Berra. You know, some of the guys that we had in the game that aren't in anymore. I hope this is kind of setting that precedent, and we do get those guys down the line. But yeah, I drafted. It took me like 15 redrafts to get him. I was just really wanting to use him. Ended up. Let me actually tell you the story of how this BR run went really quickly. Got the card. Lost the first game. Jim Rice did well in the first game, but we lost. Then proceeded to win 11 straight, of course. So I'm 11-1 into my 12-1 game, and the game freezes in like the bottom of the first. So I'm kind of screwed there. And then the guy doesn't leave, and then by the time I need to record a video, I'm like, okay, I gotta just go. The 12 win was J Ram, of course, but it is what it is. Anyway, 13 games with Jim Rice, 20 plate appearances, 14 hits, 3 doubles, 7 homers for a 778 batting average, an 800 on base, a slugging of 2.111 with an OPS of 2.911. This card, I don't know what it is. The swing, he's got one of those swings where the timing just always feels right. And he feels like a card that can inside out any like sinker inside. He is awesome. I can't wait to try him out on Hall of Fame because I actually think he will play very well on Hall of Fame. Plus, they gave him good defense too. He's 83 fielding with 83 speed. 83 fielding with 83 arm strength and 87 reaction. So, yeah, I really, really like Jim Rice.
There you go. Love it. Now we know. Now we know that this is the structure they're going with, right? We are getting this legend only through BR until stage 2. We mentioned last week how much we would love it. Either we got him right away or they didn't reveal him until like later into their program. But hearing your feedback, I'm curious if like maybe he will hold up, right? If he's playing that good already and you're feeling comfortable with him, maybe he will hold up. Would he make your starting lineup if he dropped now? I'm just curious. If he dropped now, would he make your lineup?
If he dropped right now, absolutely. He would be playing probably right field for me. I would have Frank at first base with Carlos Delgado in left field, Jim Rice in right field, and probably a card that we're going to talk about, Ketel Marte. He would be at shortstop.
Yeah, we're going to be mentioning a lot about Ketel Marte, not just him being the new headliner, but we didn't even mention in the beginning of this podcast, we got a nice interview lined up for you guys. That's going to come later on this podcast where we're going to be talking about eSports. And we got 2 special guests with Rofo and Sporer. And Ketel Marte comes up in conversation on when it comes to that. So be sure to listen through the whole podcast and you get to listen to that interview. But yeah, Kentel Marte makes his, I guess, diamond debut. Actually, was his live series a diamond before he went gold? I think it was, right?
Yeah, I think he was an 85
Yeah, I think it was
or an
85. Then
86.
the first roster update, he went down. But still, any Kentel Marte card is going to be pretty fun to use, especially with the contact he has, the good pop he has, and he can play anywhere. For me, I mean, I got lucky here, Kooks. This is the first time in I don't know how long. I was like, let me gamble here. Let me buy one headliner pack, 7,500. Let's see what we could do. Got him first pack. I was like,
Let's
this never
go.
happens.
You love to see it.
Never happens. I love it. And he's still roughly going around 60K. And that just tells you his value for MLB The Show 22 right now. And I think if you're building a God Squad, he's somewhere in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's going to last for a long time. Like I don't see a ton of cards at this stage in the game beating him out for one of the many positions that he plays.
Oh yeah, hands down. So it was good to see him make it there. And then I'm going to mention the other headliners since we're not going to be fully going into everything in this episode since we had the interview that we just discussed. But we got Don Manley makes the 94 All-Star card, which was kind of weird because that's his MVP year, right? So they gave him All-Star card instead. However, I feel like they did that with Jimmy Rollins. I feel like they gave him I don't know, it was a veteran card or a second half card. I think it was a second half card. Jimmy Rollins, and then they gave him the MVP year of that particular year. So we still could probably get awards, Don Manley or a Signature Series later. This tomorrow we get Bruce Sutter headliner, and what's good about this Bruce Sutter is that it's a Signature Series card. We don't have that many Signature Series cards yet, so that's going to be well sought out of just because of that.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I think including Bruce Sutter, I think it's 5 total. It's like Randy, Michael Young, John Franco, and Mike Mussina. It's those 4, and then you add Bruce Sutter in there. You know, and it's only a matter of time before one of these collections pops up. So you definitely want to have at least a couple of those. Maybe Bruce Sutter's that guy you want to hold on to.
Hands down, May 29th last year. That's when they announced Mo. So
I'm sketched, Scuffy, because that's the time of year, or that's the part of the month where I'm going to be away in New York. That's Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to a Mets Phillies game and then a Yankees Angels game, both in New York. You're going to join me probably for one of those, and so I don't want that collection to drop while I'm there. I want to enjoy it. I just know I'm going to be thinking about it. Be like, oh my god,
it's funny. We're probably going to record a podcast right before you leave, and it's going to be it's probably watch it drop that day.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, I'm curious if it's going to be a 99.
No, I don't think so. I
don't think so either.
Well, actually, no,
I think it's going to be 97 to 98. Just they are more progressing. They're slowly progressing the overalls this year, which, you know what? Even though it hasn't been like this in the past, I'm starting to realize I kind of like it better.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I like it. The fact that they're rolling it out, but I do think actually that it will be a 99 just because of how much we had to collect in previous years. Plus the live series collection, there's 3 99s in there.
That's true.
I do think it will be a 99 just for the sheer amount you have to collect. I mean, yes, they've done a good job at putting out, like, you know, face of the franchise are now in packs. They added this big dog program this past week where you can get a lot of those cards. They're adding more of the Takashi cards. They're adding, like I said, another signature card and a ton of second half cards. Like they're giving us the cards that we need. You just have to be aware that you're going to want to hold on to a lot of these cards, and you might just, you know, they're giving us a lot of the cards, I think, to prepare us very well for this collection. Because when Mariano came out last year, I believe there were only 2 signature cards in the game, and you needed, I don't remember if you needed 1 or 2 to complete the collection, but the 2 signatures were David Ortiz, I think, and Kyle Seager, and he was a World Series reward. And that's a World Series reward and a collection award. people weren't happy with that. So they're doing a good job at putting out the content that we need. But as players, we have to be aware of that, and we have to remember what to hold on to and what not to.
Oh, hands down. I feel like this year is like the year of second half, like you said.
Which
We're
is
getting
great.
so many. I love second half cards, man, and there's gonna be second half cards that could be 99s. I just wish Cespedes was still in the game, but apparently he isn't. So, but speaking of second half cards, by you're listening now, it will be over. But we had the Moonshot event where we get Nelson Cruz's fourth card. Is he
Yeah.
becoming the new Salvi?
He's
I
the
don't know.
Salvi. He's the
Smoltz?
Salvi, the John Smoltz. He's that
Oh,
guy.
man. Yeah, second and to be fun, it's crazy because you look at the attributes, it does not look like a 99 if you're just looking at the hitting. I mean,
Yeah.
92, you look at it very feels like his finest 99 card.
Yeah.
But it's like proxy to be a 92. But yeah, you get that card, and then we get the Suarez, Jueno Suarez second half, who's been in the game for a couple years now. And both those cards are great, especially for the Moonshot event. I mean, they both have great power. But I like the little mix up they did for this event being Moonshot. It wasn't common, it was just righty bronze pitchers. And then you could play anywhere. You don't have to play. Oh, was it locked? I wasn't sure. It wasn't locked, I don't think.
Nope. You could play anywhere.
So I thought that was pretty cool too. That's where I don't mind max elevation stadiums. If it's like the Moonshot, bring all the chaos that we could get from it.
Exactly. And that's the thing with Moonshot. You just have to accept the craziness. You can't get mad at the weird timing. You're playing with power hitters against brawn hitters. The weird stuff is going to happen. That's the thing with Moonshot.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we got a new event tomorrow. Or you probably listen today. It is, we don't know what it just said. It's not the Moonshot event. That's pretty much how they phased it.
I think that's
And
literally what it's called.
it's not the Moonshot event. That's
I
what
think it's
called?
literally called This Isn't Moonshot.
That's crazy. I knew it was something like that. But we get a 92 Dante Bichette to go along with your Vinny Castillo for your Rocky fans. It is a postseason 95 card. Yeah, this isn't Moonshot event. This isn't Moonshot event. This is not
I'm-
Moonshot.
I think it's literally saying this is not the Moonshot event. I think that's literally the title of it.
No, but there's no the, so I feel like it's like, oh no, grammar?
I don't know.
It just feels weird off the tongue. That's hey, I'm not someone to talk about grammar here. I'm the worst. So it's coming off the tongue weird to me. But anyway, yeah, we got the Dante Bichette tomorrow. Whatever events. Where could this be? If we already have Forbes, I don't know.
I don't know. It might not be locked, but it is a higher difficulty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Hall of Fame. So if you want to get some Hall of Fame games, I'm hoping they mix that up a little bit more. It's funny. Speaking of Hall of Fame, I played my first Hall of Fame game last week or earlier. Yeah, last week, and I gotta say, going from All Star Hall of Fame feels really nice.
Yeah,
It really does.
yeah. I like it, especially on the Xbox with the 120 hertz. I really like it.
Yeah. I wish everything was a Hall of Fame. I do not. I do not like now playing ranked again. I've been playing with my all bronze squad. We got up to 694. Played my first Hall of Fame game with that,
Mhm.
and then I lost that game. Right. It was a
Yeah.
close game, extra innings, but then I had to go back to All Star, and that's just not a fun experience here. I'm just gonna say I rather just stick with Hall of Fame. Once I get to that like higher level, stick me at the higher level. I know that's not how it works, but the timing just screws you all up. I kind of wish now more and more I see it. There's one universal pitch speed, but I don't think we'll ever get there.
Yeah, I don't think that's really ever going to happen, honestly. I think we're probably stuck with what we have.
Yeah. But now I feel your pain when you do Hall of Fame to Legend or Legend back to Hall of Fame and stuff like that. I feel your pain. It's been a minute, but
Brutal.
yeah, it is. It's kind of brutal. But like you said, if you want to try to get your timing together, and especially before the qualifiers are going, I mean, the qualifier is going to be on Legend, but still you get a little bit more practice. That doesn't mean much with Hall of Fame. You'll be able to play this event. But yeah, I'm very curious if we're going to get another locked stadium here like Forbes or I don't know. We'll find out that tomorrow.
Yep. We'll get some info on that.
Yep, and also for tomorrow, we get a new BR program as well.
Yep.
I'm very happy about it. BR programs are always like roster update days for me. When I get to see the new golds, bronzes, and silvers, I still say, and we mentioned it on last program, that this mission, like the golds, bronze, and silver cards, probably the best program we had for BR for lower tier cards ever.
I've
That
played
Grandal,
more. I've played more BR in this month window than I have probably in like a year. Just because every draft, I know I'm getting Grandal, I know I'm getting Corbin Burns. I can mess around with either Tom Glavine or Nelson Cruz. I know I'm getting some good cards, so I've played more BR than I have in a very long time, just because of the quality of cards we've had.
yeah. And it's funny, you could interchange these cards. Like I use Burns, I use Soto, I use Tony Watson if I really want to. Grandal, I got him P4. I love Grandal cards, and it's gonna be bittersweet, like not be able to choose them, but then again, just knowing that I have him at P4, so I could use him in one of my gold rounds.
Yeah,
Um, but I can't wait for who's going to come next, and we'll see. We shall see. But we do
we shall
know
see.
the rewards for this BR program, and that is first one. We got the J.R. Richard. I forgot what series it was. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure what
I think
second
it's I
half
think
again.
it's second half. It's either second half or breakout. I think.
I get it to
Or
you
it could
2 seconds.
possibly be a prime.
No, it is the second half. I was right.
Okay.
Okay. It's 93 overall second half, 1979. But the card art is amazing. It has the retro Astros unis with the different colors between the orange and like the multiple orange and yellows. Love that card. And then speaking of loving cards, we got the Tasa. Oh my gosh, I'm going to botch it. Takashi
Takashi
series.
Okazaki. There we go.
Yes, series of Joe Morgan. And like you mentioned about the Carlos Zagallo, good to see that series back, and now we get another one with Joe Morgan.
Yep.
So that's gonna be fun. Would this be the best set? I think so. Especially we know
I
what
think
they
it
are.
depends. I think it depends on the other cards, but if you're talking about just the flawless, yeah, it's got to
Yeah,
be the
just the
best.
falls. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better, to be honest with you. So there's no really like. Actually, you just never know. It depends on how the players play, I guess.
That's true.
But from on paper, I guess we say it's going to be the best. Um,
Yeah.
I really love that Joe Morgan card. I love all those cards, man. And there has to be like a set eventually, like a collection that's going to be coming with these cards.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's going to be a Tani 99, hands down.
Hey, I'm not going to say no to that.
It has to be. It's going to be the MVP edition cover.
Yeah, give me it. I want it
Yeah.
right now.
So
Don't make me wait. Give it to me right now.
So that hey, if I could, I would. But yeah, we have that to look forward to. I know we're kind of running through this, but we do have a fantastic interview set up for you guys on this episode, going all over about esports with the summer circuit coming this Saturday, where the first qualifier is, and then we have 4 more after that, and then the finals on June 18th and 19th. Cougs, do you have with the new set of rules, which we'll go over in the interview, do you have any like desire to try once again?
To try the esports?
Yeah, like the qualifiers?
Well, regardless of if I want to or not, I won't be able to this Saturday. But if I did have the time, I think I would actually. I think I would try it with the changes they've made to make it not last for 18 hours. I think I would give it a shot.
Yeah, I probably would too. I am giving it a shot, I actually say. I'm
There
sorry.
you go.
So I'll give my full review of that next episode. I remember last year I did it and I was like legend. But what I like about it is that you could queue up games. You don't have to wait. And I could play as many games as one. Where last year I just didn't want to wait. That's why I kind of quit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wait. But yeah, we'll talk about that more in 2 seconds. But the last thing about content that we want to talk about this week is the new not BR program. We just went over this. Come on, Scuffy. The new program that's coming out this Friday, where we're getting only one boss, one new legend, I should say, coming in this Friday. And we've been getting hints. They've been doing like Caesar ciphers on like what's going on. Is MLB show socials drunk? What's going on, Colin? I don't know. But no, there's just teases, and they were leading towards one card coming out this Friday, and the looks of it, Cougs, it could be a big one.
This could be an exciting one. With
Yeah.
with all the hints we have, some of the connections with other players that we know are going to be in the program. Scuffy, it's looking like it's a strong possibility that we see Roy Halladay this week. I mean,
Well,
you would think that assuming it is him, you would think that this would be a guy we knew about before the game
yes.
dropped. That's
Yeah. Oh,
a
yeah.
big get. That's a big name. So
That
for
is
them, so for the
that's a trailer.
possibility of that him, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a trailer legend that you put in, hands down.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny, we're getting him, and we already have Randy. And I feel like with pitchers, we've been getting spoiled with starters. I mean, we got Pedro. Who came with Pedro? I feel like someone else came big with Pedro. We got Clemente, but I know that's not a pitcher. I feel like we got two big pitchers last year with Pedro and someone else. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way,
Yeah, I don't remember.
Roy Halladay is going to be a lot of fun. And I remember in the 2K days when they had like pinpoint for 2K and using Roy Halladay, and it's kind of like full circle now since we have it in MLB The Show and be able to use Roy Halladay, and he's going to fit the meta so well in this game. This is probably I'll quote this. This if his H per nines are good, we'll pray to the MLB Show gods for it. But if H per nines are good, this will be our Kluber. This will be our Edward Cabrera. This will be our Kershaw.
You think so?
Yes, hands down.
Woo!
The control is going to be there. The stamina is going to be there. If his H per nines is going to be there, oh my God. And he's going to have the meta pitches. I don't even have to go over that. We all know that. But his control should be there and his stamina should be there. I just got to see how the H per nines are.
Yeah, it really does just come down to that.
Yep. So I don't know. I'm hyped though. I am hyped. At first I thought the way they were saying it, because the teases was like, this legend will be, or I forgot, something with their mates or their teammates. And they first show Ryan Howard. So I was like, it can't be that second baseman because we already got his end game card. So I was thinking it might be Jimmy Rollins, but then again, then they said new legend. And then earlier today, they revealed gold Carlos Delgado, which was teammates with Roy Halladay in Toronto. So it's pretty much the writings on the wall right now. If it isn't Roy Halladay and it's one card for a 2-week program, I'm afraid what the response of this community is going to be, depending on who it is, I guess.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, I am really curious to see like what it's going to look like because, it's most likely going to be like a 94 or 95, like around what the other cards are going to be, regardless of what the hits per nine is and the pitch selection. It's not going to be like that 99 guy that some people might think it would be based off, the hints and the weight behind the name and everything. So
Yeah.
I am curious to see what the reaction would be both ways, whether it is Roy Halladay or whether it's not Roy Halladay. Even if it is end up being Roy Halladay and people see the card and they're like, oh, this is a letdown. The fact that that's the only card in the feature program for 2 weeks, that's another avenue where people could get mad if they don't feel like the card is worth it. At least with the spring cleanup program, you had 5 cards to choose from, whereas this, you're only going after one guy. So that one guy has to be good, and STS has to know that.
Exactly. So we'll find out, and we'll definitely talk about that all next week. But I kind of want to leave it off there because we do have a more fantastic episode. So keep on listening because, Cougs, we got the opportunity to talk with Roflo and Sporer all about eSports scene and over their casting. It was a lot of fun. We recorded before we started this, the beginning of the episode. So I think it's a fantastic listen, especially if you're into the eSports, or just see how they grasp everything on where this game could go.
Yeah, agreed. It's a great conversation. We have a lot of good discussion about the players, the cards, the format, just everything esports. Definitely want to stick around and listen to the second half of this podcast. You won't be disappointed.
Yep. So here it is. Here is the interview between us and Brofo and Sporer. Check it out. And now let's head to other news that we got last week, and that is the summer circuit. We get our first official esports event for MLB The Show 22, and what better to go over this news with the main casters of the summer circuit, and that is Mr. Robert Flores and Mr. Paul Sporer. I appreciate you guys joining inside the show today. How's everything going today?
Good, man. Thanks, you guys, for having this.
Doing well. Appreciate y'all having us on.
Yeah, of course. And I've been wanting to have you two on for quite a while because you guys have been casting the esports events for MLB The Show for, I don't know, about 2-3 years now, I believe. And now we got our official for 22, and first place gets $15,000. So you haven't heard about it. The summer circuit begins this weekend with our first qualifier over the weekend, starts Saturdays. We are going to go over a little bit over the new news about the qualifier, but first place gets $15,000, second place $5,000. I think it's roughly up to $25,000 of prizes that you can get from 1 through 4th place. Hey, I don't even know, like when I see this type of money and playing with MLB The Show, I look back, I say 3 or 4 years ago, and we never seen this type of money or esports coming to the table. So I just want to grasp, like, the first question I want to ask you guys, like, from seeing where we were from the beginning, like we just say the community tournaments, and now to see official tournaments like this, where the best of the best get to play, what is I wouldn't say expectation. What do you guys look forward to the most when these tournaments come about?
Honestly, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
Just the competition and seeing the guys who get better every time, and they get younger too, which is truly insane. Obviously they lowered the age, so that allowed in the folks who I believe were 15 and up, 16 and up, and you see how it changed the landscape completely. You're 22 years old and you're the old guy on the block, and it's wild. It makes sense. I totally get it inherently, but I remain impressed. I absolutely remain impressed by the young kids, their composure with that kind of money on the line, to stay unconscious on the sticks. It never ceases to amaze me, and I can't wait to see it again this year.
I think for me, just building off what Paul mentioned, guys, it's exciting for me to see the possibilities moving forward for this particular franchise and esports and how they work together, because I think to your point, where this game was, say, when I first met you guys handful of years ago, I think it was at the All-Star game in Washington, D.C. So, and that wasn't that long ago, but I feel like the game as an esport, as a competitive franchise title, I feel like it's gotten, it has moved rapidly, and I can't wait to see what's next. I mean, I think there are so many possibilities. So just to see it gradually build from where it started to where it is now, but to also to see the possibilities of what it could become, I think that's really exciting as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know myself and Cougs, whenever we're talking about like esports, like we see how, I think the first thing that was cool is to have you two on board and do that one full on Sunday finals broadcast where you just see the best of the best going out in the last, I believe it's usually like the semifinals or the final 8 go at it. It's just that right there at first was like great to see as a community, and you could see it like through the chat, like everyone getting hyped up, and then the games that get put on as well. I mean, even just this past like tournament, I mean, we seen back to like, it felt like you don't know who's going to win, right? It felt like someone gets certain amount of runs and then someone responds right off the bat. And it's funny how you brought it up, Paul. Like, it's just these young players, like they have these reaction times. Like I remember last year for myself, I tried to play a legend game. I think I did try to do a qualifier last year. I was like, how the heck am I supposed to freaking
Yeah,
stay up to the ball? I don't understand it. I don't. And
they're next level.
So when you,
Yeah, they're insane.
yeah, so when you sit there and commentate, it's just like, are you more just like reacting because you're like shocked by how good the placement of their PCI is, or just
Ugh.
like,
Yeah, I think we're
I mean,
consistently amazed at them. Yeah.
yeah, I just Paul. There'll be times where Paul and I are doing a game, and we were talking about it before we started, Scuffy, that these guys are hitting tanks, perfects with silver cards, with gold cards on Legend, and you look at the PCI placement, and they are all over it, and like you just shake your head because Paul, sometimes they play a game that is different. They're not playing the same game that I am when I'm
Exactly.
struggling through All-Star, you know?
Exactly. They are playing a different game. You see these games go out on Twitter between legends like this, and I beat them 23-21. It's just it's a different game of baseball, and the best of the best. To win these kind of tournaments, you have to be able to hit. Plain and simple. You're never going to win them without being able to hit. Pitching has caught up a bit with the pinpoint and how OP that can be, but only to a degree. Only to bring the runs down a bit. If you're not putting up double-digit runs consistently, you're going to have a hard time making any real noise in these kind of tournaments.
And going off all of that, just how precise these guys have to be and how incredibly accurate they are with everything that they do, to do it when the actual like grand finals are going, and how long of days those are. Sometimes these guys are playing for 7 to 10 hours. And it's just to be playing at that elite level for that long. I think that's a part of this whole competitive aspect for these guys that gets overlooked, is just being able to stay locked in for that long. Like I play one game and I'm like, oh, I need a nap. These guys just go all day, perfect PCI placement, just high intensity games. That to me is the most impressive thing about this whole thing.
I think that's a great call out because every pitch is so intense. And, those of us that aren't nearly at that level, but that have had different intense moments, whether it's a 12-0 or your World Series game, think about that for 8 hours. The intensity of those last 3 BR games in 12-0 run, or of that last game against a sweaty to get to World Series, that's for 8 hours. And we do that for a couple games in a given day to get the 12-0 or to get World Series. That's the impressive part. You're dead on with that, Cougs.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I'm streaming on my Facebook page Monday through Friday or so, 2 hours. But like by hour and 45 minutes, I'm looking at the clock going, okay, we're about to wrap this up because I am, I'm spent. So to your point, I mean, these guys are grinding for, as you said, numerous hours back to back. And then the thing is that the pressure, I mean, there is real pressure here because anytime you put that amount of money on the line, I definitely commend these guys for what they're doing, especially with all that money that's up for grabs.
Oh yeah, hands down, and it feels like there's more money as each year goes by. So, and especially with these young guys, I mean, we had Kreiner. I believe he's around 16, 17?
He's 16, yeah.
16, and he made a nice chunk. I mean, he could. I don't even know what he does with the money, but that's for being that young and getting that type of cash. I mean, that could do you wonders, like setting up your future, kind of. And you wouldn't think of it, like. It really is. I mean, playing MLB The Show kind of set him up a little bit. But it's always cool. And it's funny, like we always see new names come out from these circuits. And that's why I always look for it. Like, who's that one player that just comes out of nowhere and like puts his name on the map? And you usually see that. I feel like Kreiner did that, not saying last year, but I feel like he did that like a year or two ago beforehand, where he played in these type of competitive tournaments and made a name for himself when he was JBD. And then all of a sudden he built up that reputation, and look where it got him now, just continuing that grind. And he won the tournament. I believe, I forgot which tournament. It was either the Full Circuit or the Diamond Dynasty Invitational, which is another great thing, which we can get to later. But I do want to go over, Paul, you brought up a 8-hour window of just how you did with the finals. Now that 8-hour window is going to be coming to a factor in day one of the qualifiers. Why do I say that? They switch up the qualifiers on how they are going to be played. So I'm just going to read a little paragraph on how it's going to work. On day one of each summer circuit qualifier, all players will compete in an open ladder format. Competitors can queue up at any time within an 8-hour window, but must complete 6 3-inning games for their score to count. Each win earns a player a point, and each loss loses a player a point. The top 64 will move on to day two. That's a big change. Last year we had the Swiss format, and we were talking a little bit before the podcast, Ruffo. Is just we had the Swiss format, and you had to play a max of 6 games. However, you had to wait. And this has been a previous experience. I know Coos could say this as well from playing in previous qualifiers. We had to wait for multiple hours sometimes between one 3-inning game to the next. And I feel like that's a big, like, sometimes your timing might not go off. You're waiting here, you're waiting in your chair, or if you're streaming and playing the tournament, you're just trying to interact with chat and do all this things at once. And, with this, how this game works, all it takes is so much time off, and your timing could be all whacked up.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a massive change, and I believe they responded to the community with trying to fix the waiting. The waiting was a big problem. A lot of folks brought that up, and I think it's been heard loud and clear. Think about where we've come from just with the first tournament, not even before esports really became a thing. Think about where the first tournament was and some of the flaws that have been there to where we already are moving down the line, and there's still so much more to go. Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about the grand scheme of things, and it's still in its infancy here, basically. Yeah. And it already feels like we've made some pretty massive steps as an esports community, especially when you think about how many people said we'd never have esports. So,
yeah,
good call by them.
And going back to what I was mentioning earlier about what the possibilities are for this particular game title and esports and the franchise, I mean, I would love to see down the road a grand final being held at MLB Network. Yes. Bring the players, put them in Studio 42, get an audience in there, and I would love to be a part of that, just to see. Agreed. Because I think what ultimately makes it, it's not just the gameplay that makes it good. A good watch. It's when you can know who the players are, when you can get some information about them, about their stories, about their journey, how they became MLB The Show players, how they became baseball fans. So that's kind of the next step, I think, for this particular title as a thriving esport franchise, is to get to know who those players are. And for people that just, not just the diehard members of the community like us, but the more casual consumers of esports and video games, if they can know who these players are and know about their stories, I think that's when this begins to take another step as well.
Dude, I think you nailed it, because I was going to say the same thing. I think the two biggest steps we could take going forward are both an in-person event as well as a connection to these players, because you think about real Major League Baseball players. You look at a guy like Shohei Ohtani. A lot of people know Shohei Ohtani's story, and then they tune into Angel games and they see how he's playing. They're invested in what's going on. Some of these guys have such cool backgrounds with how they got into MLB The Show, how they got into baseball, what led them to get here. Like, that connection does so much more for the esports scene than just another tournament would. When you start getting to a point where you can relate to these players and you have somebody you're actually rooting for, that to me is huge. And, like you said, doing it in Studio 42 would be just, that to me really is cool. Like, that's the pinnacle. That's what I want to see. I want to see an in-person event. These guys face to face, looking at each other, like just seeing their reactions when they dot up a pitch on the corner, and then it's a perfect. Like, it just little things like that. That is the next evolution of where we are, and I honestly think we're on a good track for that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I agree. And we've seen it with like the Madden Live ones, right? We kind of have a blueprint out there in the world, and that's awesome, because then we kind of know what we're looking for.
Oh yeah, I mean you have Matt. That's what I was going to bring up as well. The Madden MCS. You just see how the presentation is, and for being at a live event, right? And it's kind of cool just see the motions, like you guys brought up. Madden's been doing it, NHL does it as well. And I think, like you said, we're right there for MLB to be there, and I can't wait. Especially like just imagine like just you go up by four runs. It's like the top of the seventh, say, and you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden the other guy starts responding, and just to see the emotion between
Yeah.
them two going at it, and especially how this game could go back and forth like that. I really feel like this MLB The Show is the most exciting. I'm not trying to be biased too, but just like whenever you see the top players go at it, I really feel this game out of any sports game could be the most exciting
Well,
game to watch.
it's because of the anticipation of baseball and like playoff baseball specifically, which is what this is, right? When someone's driving in football, yes, there can be crazy moves where it's like a pick six and that flips the field and everything. But for the most part, if a team's driving in and they're at the 30 and the 20 and then the 5 and then they get in, okay, it's a little bit more gradual. It's exciting, but you kind of are expecting it. With baseball, it's like you're saying, when you go down 5-0 and it's like, well, so-and-so's in big trouble here. And then boom, he rips off 3 straight homers. And like, wow, he's right back in this instantly. And it's that flip on a dime that baseball has that the other sports don't necessarily have. If you're down a bunch in basketball, you have to build to come back. If you're down a bunch in football, you have to build to come back. In baseball, you can go down a bunch, but like 6-7 runs for these guys is 1 inning oftentimes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I love the way things just flip on a dime, and there's no time limit. So if you've got outs in your back pocket, you're still alive. And that's another great thing about baseball is no clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you can watch it and you can break it down in a way where you break down the strategy of like, okay, what pitch are they going to throw next? How are they sequencing? How are they doing this and this and this? Football, is a lot of play calling. It's a lot of audibles at the line. It's a lot of, so much meta is going on before each and every play. Whereas baseball, there is a lot of thinking going on, but like just the simplicity of it. Like he throws a good pitch, he hammers it with a perfect swing. He puts a pitch in the high and outside corner, dots him on the corner. Like, it's simple to follow, but it's so electric when it gets going. It's just, it's unlike Madden or 2K or anything else like that, just because it's just, as Paul said, it can flip on a script. And then when it gets going, there's just such adrenaline that you can feel. And I think MLB nails it.
Yep. And I love when it turns and then that pitcher, you can just start to see them panic when they can't land a pitch. The guy's dialed in. He's just started a 3-run inning. And now your guy's losing the confidence and you have to lay something over. It's just great. Yeah, and that's why I love playoff baseball. It's so exciting. The anticipation of what's going to happen next completely drives it and makes it excellent.
One wrinkle that I think could be interesting, and I don't know the particulars about how they would go about it, or I would love to see, particularly when we get to the championship series, I would love to be able to incorporate more strategies so as what pitchers are being used, especially a starting pitcher, you can't use them or their energy is severely taxed if they try to use them for the next game. So it would force the players to be a little bit more showcase their strategy on how they, make it look more like real baseball, make them be more like real managers about, which pitchers are they going to use? Are they going to have another reliever come out of the bullpen? Are they going to save this reliever for a possible clincher? That sort of thing. So maybe that's another wrinkle that they could add moving forward.
That's a good point.
I love it.
I love it too. I have to ask this. Are we going to see Ship It now being nerfed? Are you guys ready not to see Ship It this year?
I hope like we don't see it. It gets tired. It's still a good hitting eye, though. People still want to play there. So I think we will still see some people whose comfort level still remains there.
How much, like percentage wise, like from you guys calling each circuit, I feel like it's been has to be like 95 to 100% every game that you guys call possession.
Yeah,
right?
it's we make jokes about it all the time. It's almost
Paul, I don't think we've ever called a game that wasn't at ship it. Come to think of it, I mean, unless I'm
and if we have, it's like so few games.
Yeah,
and there's so few.
Yeah, I always bring up.
I think Laughing Mountain
go
might
ahead,
be. Laughing Mountain might get a lot of playtime. A lot of people like that part now.
I like Laughing Mountain too. Yeah.
It's got that elevation. Honestly, the batter's eye is pretty good. Most of the time I see people playing at night, so there's really no issues. I think you can play at a certain time of day, and if you have a guy with a weird release, sometimes that ball could get lost in the light. But I would say 99% of the time, Laughing Mountain usually plays pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that brings up the question, though. I will, especially with, custom stadiums. I don't think they could do it until they get out of PS4, and Xbox One. I'm not talking about custom stadiums, but like a competitive stadium, right?
Yes, that'd be cool if they brought in some community members to create like tournament stadiums.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot. And have that one stadium be the official home.
Yeah, and we can do like a showcase of the stadium creators. And this is
like a contest in the contest.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. That's one of the great new features. I know this is the second year of it for the next gen consoles. I love the stadium feature. I don't have the skill set to create something cool, but I am happy as hell to download and use someone else's stadium creation. So I think that's a really great idea.
And I like watching them make it. It's like it's become another way to play the game, is to be a stadium build streamer type deal, and I think it's really cool.
And they could have, honestly, multiple. They could keep the dimensions and altitude and all that stuff the same, and it's like, if a player doesn't necessarily like the backdrop of a certain stadium, he has like 2 or 3 to choose from. And there's plenty of options and plenty of potential with the custom stadiums. And honestly, at some point, like you said, Scuffy, once we kind of get to the point where next gen kind of gets, or old gen kind of gets a little bit, not obsolete, but kind of, they start to move on.
I mean, it will be obsolete. Like not to leave anybody behind, but you're going to get left behind after a while. And that's just kind of what happens. I agree. It will take a jump when it kind of goes full PS5.
Yeah, I would expect it.
And Xbox, whatever the latest Xbox is. Sorry, Xbox folks, you're part of the community. Don't worry.
I wonder, can't hit on the Xbox.
What is the latest Xbox thing called?
We're Team Xbox on this podcast.
I know you are. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not excluding anybody.
It's Xbox Series X.
I have a question for everybody here. So just to be clear, this whole thing, it's all crossplay and everything, right? You can play Xbox, PlayStation.
Yeah.
Do we see any Nintendo Switch players make a run in this tournament? That would be kind of electric. I'm not gonna lie.
Be amazing.
I think that would be something. But I mean, what was the percentage of Xbox players that we saw making deep runs? And do we know? I don't even recall.
I don't know. I don't know what we had with Xbox folks, but with Switch, the timing scale is just so different. The precision is hard. I would be so impressed if somebody in our final was a Switch player. I would gas them up so hard. I'd be openly rooting for them.
But see, that's just another avenue to having the storyline with these players. Build that connection. Somebody who plays on Nintendo Switch be like, all these guys are playing on PlayStation and Xbox. I have a Switch. I'm rooting for that guy. Like, it just builds that connection. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, I have a question. What about what do you guys think of the possibility, either in the near future or maybe further down the road, the possibility now that co-op is an available feature? What about 2v2 or 3v3 tournaments?
That has to be on their pipeline or their flow chart for the next couple of years. Undoubtedly, they brought it in.
I think it's a great feature. I think it's a really cool mode.
It's buggy as hell, and I've enjoyed the hell out of it. And I they admitted out front, they said day one, hey, it's brand new. We're keeping it casual because it's not ready for prime time, but we wanted you guys to start messing with it. So you know what you're getting. And it doesn't mean it's not frustrating when you lose a game in the middle because it crashes or whatever, but at least you know what you're getting. Your expectation level should be at the appropriate level, which is like mid. And then expectations for the future are high, though, because I really think they can turn it into something amazing. It's so dang fun.
Oh yeah, I was mentioning to Cougs before, like I played for the first time with a couple buddies, and they're good buddies that always played the game but never played online. They always played offline, and then we went to DD, played co-op. We were trying out new players. This is when Sheffield came down, and we were trying out new players. And I was like, all right, I'll buy this card so we could try it out. He never played with the card. What happens? He walks it off with Gary
That's
Sheffield
awesome.
in the
That's
sixth
great.
inning. Or where I forgot how many innings. I think it was actually in the ninth, and it's so fun.
It really
But
is.
once we get stable enough where we don't get the bugs, and then you can actually match up with other people as well, like not just randoms where you can match up with other friends.
Yeah.
And you'll eventually see that come in. And we see that in any other sports game, I think, besides Madden. But we see with NBA, they have the NBA League, which is just basically 5 versus 5.
Yep.
And then the big NHL ones, I think NHL community loves the 6 versus 6 instead of the 1v1 more. I think it's the GWC, or forgive me if I don't know the name, but I know that particular format they love. And
there's
it
the
just
LG League too. That's like a big, expansive NHL league, I believe too. But yeah, that like 6-on-6 is so fun. But with the 2-on-2, 3-on-3 that we have, I think it's going to be. I'm really, really excited for the future of co-op.
Now, let me ask you: if you had to pick one that works best for esports, would it be 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3?
I think 2-2.
Yeah, me too.
That's
I think 2v2 is. I think that's the one that would be. I don't know why, but it just seems like that would work a little bit better.
Yep.
Maybe it's just I don't know why, but I agree. I think 2v2 would be the co-op mode if you're choosing to which of the co-op modes do you want to kind of take down the E-Road esports path. I think that's the one.
I agree, because if you're 3 versus 3, you're always locked into the hitters that you're going.
Yep.
This gives a little bit more, and
I
then
like the
rotation as well, where the second player is infield, outfield, and someone else pitching, and it rotates each one. So I definitely think 2 versus 2 as well. We'll see. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, I'm sure once you'll be able to match up with other friends, we'll see community tournaments for
definitely
co-op start rising, and then we'll see how the game plays, especially in the later year of MLB The Show 22. I feel like that's co-op is going to be the mode that a lot of people start playing again. I've had it. Okay, so this is another thing. This is for everyone, including you, Cougs. So each year we get the same format, right? So I want to hear. I mean, you could give me 3 or 4 names of players that you think should be locked into a tournament. So if you're building a tournament for this circuit, I'm curious of what cards you would choose to be in your tournament. So I'll go over the format and on how it is. So position players, you get 395 overalls, and then 385 to 94, and then the rest are gold or below. For starting pitchers, you get 295 above, 185 to 94. The remaining 2 are 84 and below. Bullpen is 295 above, 385 to 94, and then 384 below. But give me some names that you guys think are like locks that must be in a circuit roster this coming Saturday.
I can start with a gold.
Okay.
I can start with a gold catcher. I think that Yasmani Grandal might get a lot of play time there. Switch hitter with that power, and he's got diamond fielding. I think we'll see a lot of that card.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I can't get away from the Spencer Torkelson future star. That
His
card
swing is so good, Paul.
It's just been dominant for me. And I know that first base is deep. You could put him at third. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I think if you rake with him, which he's one of the cards I've raked most with, I got to get him in there. I also think the Taylor Ward Player of the Month makes some sense with that catcher eligibility. That way you have a backup catcher ready for you, especially if you have like a slow catcher like Yasmani and you want to pinch run. You can pinch run somebody, your fast guy off the bench, and then you can put Ward back behind the dish for the rest of the game. So Taylor Ward, Spencer Torkelson, 2 guys I would definitely have.
I really enjoy I like him in real life, and I also like his Player of the Month card, the Ty France card.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. High context.
I really like that card. It hits extra bases, hits sink. I mean, it's just a good hitting card. I think he only has first base eligibility. I think that's right. But yeah, that for me is definitely a card that I would consider heavily putting in the lineup for sure.
Yeah. For me, I had to go the Ketel Marte that just got released for the headliner.
I was thinking of him too. Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be pretty much. He plays multiple positions. He has a high contact, good pop, not great with the 70, but still, he's going to play above his attributes regardless, just with his swing. So that Ketel Marte, I definitely look out for. I'm very curious what's going to happen on Friday when we get the new program. Like, is someone going to grind that program to get whoever it is, which we think could be Roy Halladay, to put in your rotation?
Now it's only going to be open for 2 weeks, right? This program, right?
Yes, but I feel like we had a program dropped before one of the qualifiers, and people stayed up that whole night. I forgot who it was.
I think I remember. I think it was the Finest Trout from last year.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Because I was trying to get him, and I was trying to do like the super fractor grind, and Darius was like, I would sell you Trout, but I need him for the tournament coming up. And I was like, it's all right, man. It's all good. So yeah, I think it was Finest Trout from last year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very, very curious if that's going to happen again.
I'm going to give you another one. And it's a card that I mentioned to you earlier. Matt Carpenter.
Yes.
I think it's a 92 or a 93 prime. Mm-hmm. That card is I think his swing is glitchy as hell. I love it. You could also put him at third. So it's got some positional flexibility there depending on who you have at first. So I think for me, I love just about any Matt Carpenter card in the game. But that's definitely for me the one that I enjoy hitting the most with right now.
Duffy, what were the starting pitcher requirements again? It was 295s?
295 plus, yes.
And then what's after that?
185 to 94. So that's tough right there. The 185.
Yeah. So just to be clear, can you use because I'm trying to think how many people are going to use Ohtani with the two-way player stuff. He's a 94 on his live series.
But inside edge boost counts towards overall super charged, and community apparel counts.
So that's the thing. That's the thing I don't like about these tournaments or the restrictions. I don't like the fact that parallels matter, because if you use this card and you grind with this card, you're getting a feel for him. You want to use that card in the tournament. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like you should be penalized for practicing with a card in ranked gameplay because it levels up that card. Like I don't agree with that. I think it should just go off of base overall. Because I have Ohtani right now. I'm looking at him. I have Ohtani to parallel 4, and that brings him up all the way to a 99 because you add the hitting and the pitching with it. So like the fact that Ohtani is now listed as a 99, it kind of limits some other options. So I don't know. That's one thing I would like to see changed about the rule set.
No, I agree. I remember last year when I decided to dabble in the qualifier, I barely played ranked last year. And who do we have for TA2 that everyone used? That was the Carrera card from the Marlins. He was in 94. I didn't play with him. I had him as my 85 to 94. So I had the edge because I never used him. And still had the 295 plus. Didn't matter. I mean, I can't hit on legend. But yeah, I tried.
No shot.
But yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited.
I can't wait.
We got 4 qualifiers within, I think it's almost every other week. Let me get it right here. Yeah, qualifier on May 21st, 22nd, then 28th, 29th, June 4th, and 5th, and 11th, and 12th. And then the finals will be June 18th, and then 19th will be the live broadcast with you two. Just see who wins the first circuit of the year. Also, I do want to give a shout out to Thuni. Dooney as well is going to
Yes.
be your
Yeah.
go-to guy for qualifiers.
He does yeoman's work all the way,
Yeah.
you know, from
He goes
he
loves
definitely
full
lays the
in.
foundation for sure.
He loves this stuff.
Yeah.
He brings the energy every single, no matter how long he goes or how tired he gets, his energy is always. He reminds me a little bit of Courage JD when he casts for other esports like Call of Duty or Fortnite back in the day. So
I like that comp.
he would be your go-to for the qualifiers, and he'll be streaming on his Twitch channel, which is Dooney with 4 U's.
I think that's right.
There's a lot of use. A lot of use.
A lot of
Lot of
use.
Hella use.
Just start with one U, and I'm sure it'll autofill.
Just hold
You
the
know?
key down, and then
Yeah.
you'll find it.
and you'll eventually. But you know, I think I speak for Paul when I think this is going to be our third or fourth event doing it. It's important. It was always important for me to, even though I come from a traditional broadcasting background, it was always important for me to treat this as a as seriously as possible, and not just some sort of you know, like it's, oh, what are these guys doing? How, you know, like it was like some sort of some sort of sideshow or something like that. Because I think it is, as I said, I think the future is bright, and what these players can do and is amazing. And look, the money they're playing for is a serious cash. So it definitely deserves respect, and they do as well.
I think I speak for the entire community, saying that we appreciate that you guys kind of take it from that mindset. The fact that you guys do believe in this esports and the future of it and what it can be, and you know, setting the groundwork now and taking it seriously, and you know, not just phoning it in, and you know, just putting a lot of effort and pride into it. I think everybody in the community can see it, and everybody appreciates it. So, you know, keep on keeping on, guys. It's awesome to see you guys do what you do when these tournaments are going.
Appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
No, it's a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And like we said, June 19th will be the first finals broadcast for the summer circuit. Be sure to check that out. That'll be on Sony San Diego's Twitch's channel, YouTube. They'll have all the broadcast and stuff on their socials, so be on the lookout for that. Once again, Rofo and Paul, thank you guys for joining today's show. Where can we find you at? I know, Rofo, you're on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm at and I want to give you a shout out, Scuffy, for Scuffy was nice enough to help me install a instant replay feature for my stream, which is it's amazing. So if you want to see Scuffy's handiwork, you can see me in my stream, facebook.com/realroflo. And I stream usually in the afternoon, starting around 1:30 Eastern time, Monday through Friday.
Sweet.
I like that. I'm on Twitter at Sporer and on Twitch at Sporer. I do a morning show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, covering the night, the box scores from the night before. We talk over everything that happened in baseball, and then I do gaming streams 4 or 5 times a week with MLB The Show and Out of the Park Baseball.
Sweet. How's that Out of Park baseball franchise? I know you got the expansion team going.
Been great. Yeah, I've got an expansion team. We've choked in the playoffs 2 years in a row, but we've made the playoffs. And yeah, that last one was a heartbreaker. I was literally the best team in the league, and we lost in the first round. And it was pretty decisive too. It wasn't even that close. So I've got work to do. We're mid-season in the next year after that. We are poised for the playoffs again, and it's put up or shut up time this year. I'll say that for sure.
There you go. That's 2 great, fantastic teases for you guys to go over their streams and watch what happens over there. Once again, appreciate you guys joining this show.
You got
Enjoy the craziness that's going to happen from the summer circuit. I know I will, Cougs will, and the whole community will. And that's going to do it for today's episode here. So thank you guys for listening to Inside the Show. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. It's at Inside the Show PC. Once again, twitter.com/Inside the Show PC. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit thumbs up on today's video. If you're not watching, head over to youtube.com/Inside the Show and make sure to sub to the channel. You can follow my boy Cougs at Cougs46 on Twitter. Find all of his socials there. I'm at Scuffy McGee TV. You guys have fun grinding the new program. See who that new legend is. We'll talk a lot more on next week's episode on Inside the Show. And have a fantastic day, y'all.
See you guys.